Hey, peace, and power. Welcome to another episode or study session of We Charge Colonialism podcast and book club. We are We Charge Colonialism media. I am Ikemba Jore, host of We Charge Colonialism podcast and book club, and here with my brother.
Peace, everyone. This is Frank, host for the Revolutionary Repatriation Educational Lecture Series. Welcome you all this morning.
All right. And we are your team. Our comrade and sister Natasha will be joining us soon as well. We Charge Colonialism, and during the podcast and book club, we usually go through our weekly roundup of stories, and then we jump into our book. And we're continuing, if you wasn't with us last week, Set the World on Fire, Black Nationalist Women and the Global Struggle for Freedom. We're continuing with that read. There's a link to the book. I just put the link to the book in the chat, in the live chat, so you can click on that link and follow along with us later on in the podcast. We'll be starting on page 23 today, reading about Amy Ashwood Garvey. That's I think it's we need to do more to uplift Amy Ashwood Garvey. Both of the Amy's, they play such a vital role in the development of the UNIA and just the Pan-Africanist movement, really revolutionizing it as well. Pan-Africanism, that is. But with that being said, hey, Natasha, you want to introduce yourself?
Peace, everyone. My name is Natasha, and I am a member of the Northeast Political Prisoners Coalition and an educator, activist, community organizer.
Right on. Freedom all. I can't. Every time I hear political prisoners, that's the first thing that pops in my head. Like,
and that should be. That's a good thing.
For sure. All right, man. Appreciate y'all for joining us. Make sure you like and share the podcast. If this is your first time joining us, subscribe. If this is your first time joining us, make sure you go back and look at all our previous podcasts and discussions. We actually have a podcast on political prisoners. We air a podcast of political prisoners on this channel as well, so you should check that out. But yeah, with that being said, we're going to get into our weekly roundup. Natasha, did you want to start it off, or you want me to go?
I can start it off. It's fine.
Okay. All right.
So let me just pull up. I want to just throw it up on the screen real quick. This, it's a quick little video, and then we can get into the discussion of it. Let me just do this and pull it up right here. Pull it out. The text stuff. Okay. So video. Oh, wait, no.
This is Kenya talking about going into Haiti.
Yeah, what the specific title, because I just want to make sure Haiti's crisis, because I'm working on sharing it, and I wanted to know which. Here it is.
Okay. Yeah, Haiti crisis. Can Kenya succeed where others haven't?
So if you can pull up, yeah, there we go. So I'm just gonna play. It's a short clip. It's like a almost 3-minute clip, and then after that we can go into the discussion. So hopefully the sound is good.
Now, think of a country where its citizens are given machetes to defend themselves from gang violence, or where kidnappings and murders are on the rise year after year. That's how it's like in Haiti right now. The Caribbean nation has been plagued by gang violence for years, and the situation might even be worse now more than ever, especially after the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse in 2021. Some estimates say that gangs control up to 80% of the Haitian capital, Port-au-Prince. In fact, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called the crisis a living nightmare. And into that furnace, Kenya is sending about 1,000 police officers by January next year, leading a multinational force to help calm the chaos. But this mission is not like what has been done before. So why does Kenya think it will succeed where other countries haven't? One of the countries that left a footprint in Haiti is Brazil. Here's my colleague Mariana Sanchez.
Brazil led the UN troops in the country, known as MINUSTA, for more than 13 years. At the height of the operation, there were little more than 2,000 Brazilian soldiers on the ground, more than double the number of troops initially planned by Kenya. In the beginning, Brazil mixed the charisma of its soccer players with heavily armed military operations in the favelas. Any deaths during those actions suffered little public scrutiny. In 3 years, the areas were pacified. Despite the peaceful gains, though, the Haitian population seemed increasingly dissatisfied with the Haitian government's inability to provide quality of life and public services. Demonstrations began to break out across the country. Almost 6 years into the mission, it was clear to both Brazil and Haiti that Haitian police forces were unable to take command of the area on their own. And then catastrophe and controversy hit.
Soldiers were accused of rapes, an epidemic of cholera was spread by troops from Nepal, and there were widespread reports of human rights abuses and unnecessary bloodshed against civilians. Kenya's police force itself is no stranger to accusations of human rights abuses, but the government has denied any involvement in such activities. So how well prepared are Kenya's 1,000 police officers to do any better? Kenya has previously sent its army on other peacekeeping missions like in Somalia, where it says it has successfully helped with political and state-building processes since 2007. But critics say that Haiti is nothing like Somalia because of the terrain and the languages spoken, and also the fact that the police officers being sent are not as experienced. There's also the concern that local gangs in Haiti often have the support of local informants. Now, Kenya's mandate is 1 year, but what can be achieved within that time is yet to be seen, and whether the mission will be as long as Brazil's, perhaps with a little more success.
Okay, so I'm gonna just stop sharing there. So I wanted to show this particular clip because there's a lot of articles and video clips going around that are online that talk about this recently agreed to UN Security Council backed Kenyan mission into police mission into Haiti. And I wanted to show this clip because I feel like this is one of the mainstream, like that would be like the main narrative, right? That we would see on a BBC platform or, possibly how it's talked about in the New York Times or on a CNN or MSNBC. And to talk about how much context that there's missing out of their reporting, but also how much, the way that it's framed in terms of them talking about, well, what if you in a country and, for years and years, there's been so many gangs and, all you just wake up to gangs all the time. And kind of like presenting this kind of like picture of Haiti in terms of the gangs and the gang violence and, how it's just this thing that, we must intervene into as the UN, as the United States. And it doesn't mention how, the United States, MONUSTA, which they mentioned, when the Brazil went in there and did its quote unquote peacekeeping mission, they were, all backed by the UN, Canada, France, the US to go in there and help create the coup that ousted the actual democratically elected president, Aristide back then. And from even before then, we know that there was, the US has played a hand in supporting and installing dictators within Haiti, but especially thinking back to the U.S. led coup to oust Aristide, who was democratically elected, who was elected by the people, right, and who was wanting to do something for the Haitian people. And after that coup, subsequent leaders of Haiti have been pretty much US, UN created and placed leaders in those countries. And that's where you see a lot of this gang violence that they're talking about stems from. But they're not even also talking about the fact that there is the gang violence that is supported by the unofficial and illegal, illegitimate current government of Haiti. Like the last couple of governments have been, illegitimate and illegal. So when we think about the last president that was, assassinated before we have Ariel Henry that we have now, who is illegal, who was not elected, who was just appointed, and who also was championed by the US and the UN. And so pretty much the US and the UN have been deciding who they think should be in that position. None of these people have been elected. And so when they continue to talk about going to countries and doing peacekeeping missions and going to countries and, upholding democracy, they're doing the exact opposite. But what they're telling you is that that's what they're going to do. And so that whole forked tongue way of, getting people, within the US and within the world to agree that this makes sense, and also looking at the human rights abuses that that the UN has done within Haiti for decades now, but still, saying that, Kenya actually went. So first of all, the US is the one that is pushing that, even put forth that the Kenyans should go in there for this force. So we know this is already a US led move into Haiti to do exactly what Haitians have been saying that they don't want happening in Haiti. And them, saying like, oh, we're doing, we're going in there because the Haitian people have been saying they want the US out. They want the UN out, that they want the meddling to stop. And so, but they're, constantly this same narrative of, the Haitian people. No, the Haitian people are saying the complete opposite and have been saying the complete opposite. And so, between the UN, the US, and Canada and France and, leaders of the OAS, they're going in against the rights, even the rights of Haiti, which, within the Constitution, it says that no foreign troops should be within the country. So if you think about even like America, let's say when, America was having its civil war, or, it was having its issues within the United States, what foreign troops, did they say could come in? And even after they had they had this whole thing of making sure that there was no foreign involvement. And so what countries, when we think about neocolonialism, when we think about colonialism, what countries today still get to say who's allowed to come into the country and, do what? And I think the other part that I was getting into, and it'll be the last thing I say, when there's gangs that are supported by and backed by the current illegitimate government, and funded by them. And then there's literally neighborhood community, what I'm not even going to call them gangs, but like organizations who have armed themselves to protect themselves and protect the people against these, foreign backed, illegitimately backed gangs that are actually harming the people. And those are the ones that the neighborhood ones who are trying to actually protect the people are the ones that this UN mission is likely going to target. And so this is really which is, I think I saw someone mention that this is really a US invasion or intervention in blackface. The fact that they're sending Kenyans in to do that.
No, you covered this story really well. There was so many thoughts that came to mind, and I'm thinking about conversations I've been having with my students, because we have been looking at some writings, some old writings in the 1880s, and there was this scientist, Nathaniel Schaller, and he's sort of credited too with like bringing eugenics sort of philosophy and thought to the United States, helping like spark that sort of movement in the United States. But he was talking about Haiti and critiquing Haiti at this time in the 1880s, and sort of like saying like slavery, black people were better off during slavery, freeing black people. Look at Haiti. This is an example of what happens when you free black people, and just talking about the chaos and the despotism that it was in Haiti at that time, right? But he never mentioned what happened to Haiti after the revolution. He didn't talk about the indemnity or the reparations. Well, they ain't used, but the indemnity or compensation that or recompense that Haiti had to pay to France for quote unquote like their property. They didn't talk about the embargoes that the European nations had placed on Haiti. So they basically had sanctions put on them for liberating themselves. And I sort of we got to always in the Western Hemisphere. I think like Black people have to look at Haiti. Haiti is still like the capital of the Black Revolution. You know what I'm saying? And I think like in at least in the West, being that first Black state in the West, and always was a symbol for revolution for all Black people. In the United States, they will always during slavery bring up Haiti. Look at Haiti. And then be inspired by Haiti to revolt against the system of slavery and colonialism. And so Haiti plays a very important part in our revolution, and we need also for the African nations to get behind and support Haiti in the Pan-African way, though. And I think you highlighted some of the contradictions with Kenya and so forth. But that's it, Frank. You wanted to add anything?
Yeah, sure. I'll even be discussing Haiti tomorrow because it's in the topic as well. You see, this is where I have issues with some African leader. And tomorrow again, we're going to be talking about this as well. So you don't even know where to start from. But here is the thing, right? People find it very hard or very difficult, right, to see Kenya, who does not have the tools, the power, okay, and the knowledge of Haiti, to go into Haiti, come from far away to go into Haiti. And what I don't understand here is Kenya did not decide by itself to say, you know what? We are going to Haiti to go and free this land from the colonizer. This is where I find it difficult to understand. Because if an African nation or if Africa is going to Haiti to liberate Haiti or to free Haiti, why should you be funded by the people to whom you are going to fight against? Because the whole issue here about gain, that's how it is being carried out. But the question here is, who created the gain? Who are funding the gain? Who are giving support and financial support to the gain? How did it become a gain nation? Because once upon a time, Haiti was even peaceful and prosperous than the United States. Because United States citizens even left from the US and went in Haiti to settle in Haiti, to live in Haiti, to make life in Haiti. Haiti was once upon a time a nation in the world where everyone wanted to go to live and have a peace of mind, a prosperous nation. Who went in and took down the people democratic leader? Because it started from there as well. And since that time, chaos of proxy conflict eroded. Who was the cause? So if Kenya is going in, Kenya did not decide by itself with the love of Pan-Africanism, because Kenya is not being founded by Pan-Africans or Pan-Africanism. Kenya is being founded by the same European, by the same colonizer, by America, by Canada, by UK. Their money are being put together. And the reason why they are using another black man is because the people of Haiti have said, we are tired with the white man. We are tired with white supremacy. We are tired with the so-called United Nations. So there is no other force that the colonizer have to send to Haiti. So in order for the colonizer to have hold of Haiti, they have to sponsor another black man, another puppet like Ruto that we thought he was a Pan-Africanist to go in there. And the disgusting part about it is that there are some Caribbean nations that are also willing, along with Kenya, funded by the United States dollars or American taxpayer dollars, right? To go to Haiti. Now, here is the thing. The white man is not going to die. It's the black man who are going to die for the interest of the imperialists. And then after, that just say, after peace is restored, then the imperialists then tell them, okay, Kenya, thank you. You did our job. We pay you. Now you can go. Now the Caribbean nation, thank you. We pay you. You did our job. Then you can go. And then the United States will then put in her puppet government. Or if possible, the same puppet government that is there will continue to rule or will continue to stay. So in order for the world to look at the United States and Canada and Europe to pay for the atrocity committed in Haiti, they are using it around to say they are there for peace and they are spending money to create peace or awareness in Haiti by sending another black person. And listen to this. This is very deep. This go even beyond Haiti and also go to the African continent as we don't even know. As we speak, Africa is divided. Now, Kenya going to Haiti, it is a way of the imperialists having a stronghold in Africa as well. So we are looking at this beyond. Now, there is no way William Ruto will join the BRICS nation. No way Nana Akufo-Addo or Ghana will join the BRICS nation. No way Nigeria, Tinubu will join the BRICS nation. No way Africa will join the BRICS nation. The Benin, Liberia, none of those people will join the BRICS nation. They are part of the imperialists. They are honoring the imperialists. Now, if you can remember, tomorrow I'm going to be talking about it. There's a video out there. So when you go on YouTube on our channel and you see that I said the president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, is a sellout, this is what we mean. There is a video out there where Nana Akufo-Addo sitting or sat with Blinken. How can a president go and sit with Blinken? After you sit with, let's just say, Joe Biden, you sit with people out there, okay? But he went to Blinken, begging Blinken to create more bases in Ghana, to send more military in Ghana, to fight Niger, to fight the neighboring nation like Burkina Faso, Mali, okay, or Chad, to fight those people. Nana Akufo-Addo, he's begging Blinken. Then how can you do that? And then at the same time, come to the UN asking for reparation to the same people you are asking for protection. To the same people, you are asking, okay, to provide military support for you, to protect you. And you are coming to the same people, telling them, you know what, you have to pay reparation for the crime you committed, when you are asking them to commit more crime in or on a continent. How can that be? So we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. So as we speak, Africa is actually divided. So by them going to Kenya, by Kenya going to Haiti, it is beyond also that. So as we speak, when he did that, when Nana Akufo did that, how do you call it, statement, or when he begged Blinken for protection, right? What he did, within our same week, the British warship landed in Nigeria, and as we speak, is dead. The British warship landed in Nigeria. Within our same time, the French military moved closer to Ghana, Ivory Coast, and Benin. Okay? And Liberia, we all know it is controlled by the United States. So when the Liberian president came here few months back, where they said he was here for the FBI to question him about corruption, where people did not even know the full story. It was about letting him know that, because Liberia is one of the nations in Africa with the deep sea coast. And as we speak, the United States used Liberia for its submarine. So he was brought here to threaten him that, listen, with your things you're doing, with your ally you're doing with China or whatsoever, the last place you should go is to ally with Russia. And second, the last thing you should do to have any submarine at the sea coast of Liberia. So those were the things they was telling him. So as we speak, these people are already in the West African region, already just waiting for a little thing to pop out. Because Nana Akufo-Addo came to Blinken and told them, look, the West African region, these places are for you, the colonizer. We are still slaves, and that's what they have done. So if anything just happened, pop, okay, it is going to be, maybe Africa is the next Ukraine war between the imperialists with China and Russia.
No, I appreciate that. Appreciate that add-on. Appreciate the story, Natasha. And as Frank mentioned, tap in tomorrow. He's going to be talking more about this topic, or adding on to the topic, as usual on Sundays at 1 p.m. on this channel. We charge colonialism. Again, subscribe if this is your first time here, and like and share. We're going to get into the reading in a second. I'm going to just quickly touch on this story. Won't spend a lot of time on it, but I'll put the link to the story in the chat. And not that we shouldn't spend a lot of time on the story, but we just are short on time. So Burkina Faso former president Thomas Sankara elevated to the rank of national hero. I think in 2022, it was put in as the government had instituted a policy of recognizing people as national heroes. I'm not sure. Thomas Sankara may be the first person, but I could be wrong on that, to be recognized by the government as national hero. Just quickly, the Council of Ministers adopted a decree recognizing the late Captain Isidore Thomas Noel Sankara as a hero of the nation. The minute said, transmitted to AFP. The consecration of the status of hero of the nation to Thomas Sankara aims to perpetuate the cardinal values of which the republic is founded. The government explained. Thomas Sankara, Pan-African icon who came to power in a coup in August 1983, was killed on the 15th of October 1987 by his number 2, Blaise Compaoré. The day that the Burkinabe president was meeting at the headquarters of his National Revolutionary Council, when the commando of the coup soldiers arrived and shot him and his companions dead. So I'll put the link to this story. It's a short story in a 1-minute video that you can check out. That's speaking on Thomas Sankara. October 15th is coming up, so I'm sure there's probably going to be a lot of people who are going to be recognizing Thomas Sankara And you should take the opportunity to learn about his story. Great Pan African revolutionary, renamed the country from the I think it was the Upper Volta at the time to Burkina Faso. And this is what revolutions are about. Revolutionaries are about, you know, defining who we are, and taking our destiny into our own hands. He was definitely like a pioneer, I think, among revolutionaries as far as the positions that he was appointing or black women that he was appointing to certain positions in power in government. You know, some people, I don't know why they would, you know, consider Thomas Sankara a feminist. I wouldn't put that label on him, but I think what they're saying is that he was sort of he was pushing back against the patriarchal system and the domination of men over women. I think that's what they really are getting to. But yeah, you know, I don't know if y'all wanted to add anything to the story, but I think this is a great thing. I think when we take destiny into our own hands, we have to recognize our own heroes. We have to create our own heroes, and those heroes should represent, our movements and what we're about and our ideas, and not be placed on us by the status quo, to sort of pacify us and keep us, you know, peaceful and meek, as Malcolm X would say. But yeah, if y'all wanted to add anything, go right.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I think two things. I think one first is the thing about, you know, like you were saying about us creating our own, or like defining for ourselves, right? And naming ourselves. And, Thomas Sankara deciding to, name, newly independent country Burkina Faso. And it makes me also think about, I had come across and read something about how when he named it Burkina Faso, the French were like, oh, well, and when he, and it was spelt, through like a more like, an African, like, what's the word of like, phenomenological or like, phonics. And the French were like, well, no, don't spell it that way because, in French, it's not really, you should spell it this French way. And he was just like, no, this is how this is how it's written. We're African people. And this is, our history and our culture. And this is how we're going to spell it. We're not going to. And so even, in the naming, you just see like the way that like neo-colonialism continues to work to take hold, even through the process of liberation, even in the name, wanting to control the naming and how the word of a country is spelt, or even like you were saying, people putting words like feminism onto political leaders and black liberation fighters from the past, and throwing those words that are not our words, that are not words that we've termed or that we've decided, or that we've theorized onto what people have done, and everything that has to do with uplifting and uplifting women, and addressing issues around like women does not have to be termed feminism, right? And so again, thinking about like us having the ability to name ourselves, name our situations, and the importance of that, and how like Thomas Sankara, through doing that, and also like you were talking about the legislations and stuff like that around addressing some of the colonial created customs too that were put in place within Africa, and writing those things in a way that really uplifted African women was really important. And so, and when we think about his assassination, and when we think about the talk of like issues around women's rights within Africa, but how did that, how do those things come to be when you had political leaders like Thomas Sankara who were working to make sure that those things didn't extend and didn't continue, but yet they were assassinated? And us making sure that when putting people in our leaders and our freedom fighters through the forefront and giving them the elevation that they deserve, we have to make sure that as people who, look at that and revere that and celebrate that we go and also, like you were saying, study them, right? Because those people, they had very particular politics that people don't really necessarily want to take up today, that are anti-Western ways, in terms of that. So yeah.
Yeah, really quick, and I'll pass it to you, Frank. But it's like the leaders, when you talked about the politics, the ideology of the leaders. Like in the U.S., they'll give us Dr. King because of a certain ideology and philosophy that he had that they felt wasn't as threatening as people like a Malcolm X or a Marcus Garvey, right? But you notice, like in our movement, who do we uplift? Well, we uplift Malcolm X. We uplift Marcus Garvey. These are like our national heroes. So it's a reason why they do that. The colonizer doesn't want you to reflect the ideas and the actions of those people who were looking to overturn the system. Sorry about that, Frank. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's true what you just said. Like what Natasha was saying, right? Let me just add to it. But now, and also relating to the article, but now we should understand, especially I've been closely following Burkina Faso. Since Abraham became president, okay, and that's how we're going to call it. I don't care how the West call it, joint our government, we don't care. Since he became president and taking swift action and even telling the so-called United Nations to leave, do you know that the army of Burkina Faso have succeeded greatly then when the so-called UN, then when the so-called French army were in Burkina Faso? Places that were under the control of the so-called terrorists supported by the French army, those places have been seized by the Burkinabese military. And Burkinabese are leaving to those places as we speak. So he has fought terrorism to the extent that the country is gaining freedom. So the issue here is why the French army are out and then the terrorists are being defeated. And then they are not getting supply, they are not getting weapons. Why the United Nations is out, but the terrorists are not gaining or getting weapons and they are being defeated. The question here again is, why are the Burkinabese army succeeding? They are succeeding because they have been supported by Russia through army, ammunition, air defense, and ground defense mechanism. It is not the Russian that is fighting. It is the Burkinabese army that is fighting the terrorists. Why? Because the army have weapons. They have sophisticated weapons and material. Unlike the French army, when they were there, they did not give support to the Burkinabese army. Why am I saying this? There is no one going to fight to liberate Africa, only Africans. Because Africans, if we have the support and the mechanism, we can fight and defeat anyone, anybody. And that's why the imperialists are so afraid of. They do not want to empower Africans because the situation of Africa and Africans, it means economic progress for Europe and America. Why in the world will anyone want to hate the Malian president, the Burkinabe president, the Nigerian president? I call those people leaders. Why in the world anyone will want to hate them? When their intention for their people, it is not to exploit them. When their intention for their people, it is not to allow Western organization to exploit their resources and make the Western economy boom, at the same time make the African economy to perish and die. Why in the world anyone will want to hate those people? Only evil people who have evil intention, like the imperialists, will want to go against those people. Look, since this guy took office, I'm not going to say military coup, since he took office, 2 coup d'etat attempts have been made by France. You know why? They fail because the Malian or the Nigerian or the Burkinabe have the sophisticated technology now to detect. And this is where the imperialists like America and Europe or France, they do not want Africa to be sophisticated in that manner. And this is why we will stand against them at any time.
That's a fact, 100% fact. Appreciate the add-on. Again, that's a week. October 15th, too, is the founding of the Black Panther Party. So that's a revolutionary day. That's a date to be recognized, I think, by all nationalists, Black nationalist revolutionaries out there. Speaking of uplifting women, we're going to get into our book, Set the World on Fire, Black Nationalist Women in the Global Struggle for Freedom. Really quick before we move into the book, and we'll be reading from page 23. There is a link in the chat. Really quick, I want to highlight again the Malcolm X Symposium that is happening in Boston this November 10th, 60-year anniversary of Malcolm's The Message to the Grassroots speech. I will put the link to this symposium in the chat. You can register on Eventbrite. If you're in Boston or in the area, definitely swing through there. There's going to be a lot of great organizers on the ground speaking. I think there's going to be some debating going on in the spirit of Malcolm X. You don't want to miss the Malcolm X Symposium, honoring the 60-year anniversary of the Message to the Grassroots speech. All right.
Just one thing, if we can remember at the end there's a political prisoner event happening in Philly, but I can throw something up at the end.
Okay, yeah. Russell Maroon shows, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So page 23, for all of those who are following along in the reading, but I'm also going to put it on the screen for you. And it's page 23 in the PDF. So I don't know. These don't have page numbers, but it's page 23 in the PDF. Amy Ashwood and the birth of the UNIA. Marcus Garvey's UNIA rose to prominence amid the social and political upheavals in the wake of World War I, a pivotal turning point in the history of the modern African diaspora. World War I, which began in 1914 and ended in 1918, mobilized thousands of Black men to fight for the same democratic rights and privileges they were being denied at home. The war also created a labor shortage in the United States, which provided a crucial opportunity for Black men and women from various parts of the globe to gain employment in northern cities. Perhaps most significantly, the war dramatically altered the political consciousness of peoples of African descent in profound ways. In the war's aftermath, Black men and women unequivocally rejected the racial discrimination that persisted in the United States and colonial territories in Africa, Latin America, and the Caribbean. When the war ended in 1918, Afro-Caribbean migrants, for example, who had served in the British West Indies Regiment, openly revolted against the British in a series of uprisings that swept the region. These political uprisings, combined with a number of historical developments of the era, including the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, 1917, and race riots in the United States, referred to as the Red Summer, 1919, created an atmosphere in which the UNIA emerged as the largest and most influential Pan-Africanist movement of the 20th century. Reflecting the rhetoric of self-determination, which gained increasing currency in mainstream political discourse after World War I, Garvey called on Black men and women across the diaspora to help establish an autonomous Black nation state. In Garvey's teachings, Black men and women across the globe found the strategies and tactics to counter racial oppression and to advance universal Black liberation. From the outset, Black women were integral to the UNIA's growth and success. In 1914, when Garvey launched the organization, Amy Ashwood, who later became his first wife, served as his co-founder and first secretary. Born in 1897 in Port Antonio on the northeastern coast of Jamaica, Ashwood was one of 3 children and the only girl born of wealthy businessmen Michael Delbert Ashwood and his wife, Madriana Ashwood. Shortly after Amy's birth, the Ashwood family relocated to Panama City, where Amy's father opened a bakery and restaurant during the construction of the Panama Canal. Concerned about the quality of education their children were receiving in Panama, Malcolm and Maud decided to bring the family back to Jamaica in 1904. We can take a quick pause. One thing I want to say too, Amy Ashwood served as the secretary. That stood out to me. There was some things before that too, but I want to highlight that because I mean I served in capacity as secretary for organizations. The work of the secretary, I mean, if you think about and anybody who knows or has been in an organization, you know, it's such a important role, especially for you know, those people who may be serving as chair or president or some other capacity of the governing body. The secretary is like the glue, keeps everything together. That you know, making sure that things are organized. You know, organization has to be organized. Now, there's also like not to take away from you know the other positions and leadership, but you know, I just want to uplift the importance of that position. And I can imagine, you know, Amy Ash and the first wife and the second, you know, because we know it was the second wife, Amy Ashwood, that put out the book, right? She was the one who edited the philosophies and opinions while Garvey was assassinated. And this is a book that we all read, you know, to this day, you know, in this movement. But no, I just wanted to highlight that though, man, because I think like her position as secretary, and it's not going to be like given the same value, right, as Garvey's position, but she's just as vital, you know, I think, in the building of the UNIA. And could it have happened the way that it happened without her? I mean, her resources or her family's resources was the investment in the first UNIA office in Jamaica. But you know, did y'all want to add anything? I know there was some other stuff in here too, but
I would just add, like, in that same sentence, it also talks about how she served as its co-founder too, when we think about the UNIA. Mm-hmm. So as much as, you know, when we think about, like you were saying, like Garvey's position, but she's also positioned and is the co-founder of the UNIA.
Because you can't have an organization with one person, right? You need other people.
Yes, I think that is a key thing too. And it shows the importance, like you were bringing up the importance of a secretary and being part of organizations. It shows, because, you know, as a co-founder and secretary, it shows how important that having a secretary in terms of organizing is, in terms of having an organization. So I think, like, you know, she, you know, a co-founder and a founder are like the same, you know, they're the same, they're at the same level.
Yeah. And you know, like and we know, like, Marcus Garvey, his charisma, his you know, his intelligence as well. I mean, he was a writer, is a thing, but you can imagine, like, who, you know, the Amy's were serving as editors. I don't know if both of them served. I think both of them of the Negro. I'm thinking about the Negro World might have been the second Amy. You see the problem with the Amy's I have. Yeah, but it's just a significant role. And many of us know, like, what will we be able to do? We probably say it to ourselves in organizing. If I had a secretary, I need a secretary. Like, because there's so much we have to do. And just imagine everything that Garvey was trying to accomplish. He needed someone to play and to be great at it, right? Because if you don't have a good secretary, Garvey probably wouldn't have been able to do half of what he done without a great secretary and other people who probably were in key positions as well. Frank, did you want to add anything, or Natasha? Would you?
I mean, I can just add something, in terms of women empowerment, and for me, like when each time, the Western world, I think when you hear women empowerment, for me, I feel like it is a Western narrative. It is not Black people or African narrative, because Black women have always been part of the African way of life. Black women have always been in power. Okay, Black women have always been in power. Black women have always been part of the control and leading process of our society, our culture, okay, our way of life. Black women have always been part. Okay, so that also was taken from the African continent and brought to the outside world, because I mean, a culture will always be part of you, no matter what. A culture will always be part of you. And that is why our great forefather like Nkrumah or Garvey said, I am African not because I was born in Africa. I am African because Africa is with me. Africa was born in me. Okay, so when we talk about women empowerment in society, unless people who want to ignore the African way of life, the African culture, and then just want to pick European civilization or European way of life, and then infuse it into that of women empowerment and those things. But our women have always been in power. Our women have always fought for a struggle. Our women have always been there with the men serving as backbone, because in an African tradition, the backbone of a man is the woman. It's not just by in an African tradition, it's not just by the woman cooking and or taking care of the household or taking care of the children while the men go and work and those things. No, women have been part of, Black women have been part of the role, okay, the great civilization Africa have played to the war. Women have been part of that civilization. So I think what we are reading here is just part of the contribution, but it have to go to the broad perspective. You will not see this in a Western how do you call it, narrative, or a Western journal, or a Western book written by the colonizer. You will not see this there, because in order to give the narrative of women empowerment, they have to take this part of the book, okay, and then bring it with the narrative. Because if they come to bring out history to say, how Black women have been involved into the shifting of civilization, it will give their perspective of their book wrong. Because first of all, now people will start questioning, and people will now go back to the African continent to learn where civilization started from, all of these things. But in order to go on with the narrative that civilization, Western civilization is the best, or it started from Europe and America and all of those things, they have to go with their narrative. But this is just to say that our Black women have always been part of our civilization, have always been part of shifting society in a better way, and fighting and advocating for everyone.
No, I unite with that, and I think that's what where we're getting at right now with this, as we highlight some of these women who just don't get talked about, and how integral a part they played in our movement. So I'm gonna continue on 24 from the outset. Black Did I read that? I read that right. Let me go down. At age 11, Amy began attending Westwood High School, a prestigious private school for girls that had been established by Reverend William Webb, a Baptist minister, in 1882. The first of its kind in Jamaica, Westwood provided an opportunity for all girls, regardless of class or race, to obtain quality educational training. There, Ashwood was exposed to a diverse curriculum, which included courses in homemaking, biblical scripture, typing, and shorthand, as well as history, English, geography, mathematics, and science. Despite the first rate education Westwood offered, the school's curriculum was in many ways a reflection of the British colonial system. So it was a miseducation. We should begin attending the school. When she began attending the school, Jamaica, the largest of the English speaking Caribbean islands, had been under British colonial rule for more than 200 years. Similar to other students who attended schools in British colonies during this period, Ashwood was primarily taught by British history, and as a result had very little knowledge about Black history and culture. Later in life, Amy credited her 93-year-old grandmother, Bohema Dabbas, Granny Dabbas, as she was called, for making her aware of her African heritage and igniting her race consciousness and growing sense of Pan-Africanism. At age 12, Ashwood began to ask Granny Dabbas about her ancestors after an incident at school sometime in 1909. Recounting the events years later, Ashwood explained that teachers at Westwood had organized a mission fund that year to aid those in need. During a visit with Miss Webb, the wife of the school's founder, Ashwood disclosed the amount of money she managed to raise for the mission fund and was startled when Miss Webb expressed disappointment that the money would not be sent to Ashwood's people in Africa. Being so young, Ashwood explained, I was very puzzled by this bit of news and naturally asked the lady many more questions about Africa. Intrigued yet horrified by the information Miss Webb provided about how Black people had been captured by English slave traders on the shores of Africa and brought to Jamaica, Ashwood set out to find out more information about her ancestors. When her father became overwhelmed by the line of questioning, he took Ashwood to Granny Dabbas, who carefully recounted the difficult story of her capture on the Gold Coast at age 16 and her life under slavery. According to Ashwood, her great grandmother also described the virility of her people and their prowess in war, informing the girl that her great uncle was an accomplished military general of the Ashanti Asante, Asante, one of the dominant ethnic groups in West Africa. This newfound knowledge of her family's history awakened Ashwood's racial consciousness and bolstered her confidence. I was proud of myself and proud of my ancestry, she recounted years later. I went back to school with a feeling of innate pride. I had a country, I had a name, I could hark back to my genealogy. Man, that was powerful. A bunch of powerful.
I think this point right here is, yeah. I mean, because I think particularly because I do so much work around African-centered education and the importance of and even understanding that like African-centered education we know is like rooted in the African worldview and the African-centered worldview, and understanding and correcting the historical record, and connecting Black people, African Black people within the diaspora and here in the United States in particular, when we're thinking about it, to their African ancestry and what that does to them when they find out that information. And this here is like a key example of like just how pertinent it is regardless of the time, like how important it is regardless of the time, regardless if it was if it's today, how we still talk about this stuff, or how Amy Ashwood is talking about how she felt learning that. And I think it just shows like the I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for, like how enduring, right, it is to understand and know your roots as a person, right, and how that moves you, like, because I think that like if she didn't, like as she's saying, if she didn't get that information, like getting that miseducation from the school that she was, where she would have went or put her energies instead. And how when you find out that history, that it connects you more and gives you more of a sense of purpose and responsibility to do something for your people, right? For your community, and not do it, for, something else, or just for yourself individually.
Yeah, because it's, there was so much, the conditions that you're in, you accept it as if, like, it is what it is. You just sort of go along with the flow of things in life and the system. Um, and those who are in the position of power to dictate or shape that life for you, it's sort of this acceptance when you are ignorant to the fact that they are the cause of the situation that you're in, and it makes you look at things differently, and you do have a different sense of purpose, because you understand you have a different starting point than those people who are in the position of the oppressor's position. Her learning about her ancestors, I think many of us who ancestors were captured and brought to the Americas and were cut off from that, we become inspired by learning where we came from, who we are as a people, and with her and Jamaicans at this time, we're talking about the 1880s. They're only decades removed from slavery. Slavery ended, in chattel slavery in 1833, 34, I think it was official. So we're talking about decades removed out of chattel slavery. In this British colonial education, because that's what it is. It's colonial education that all African people have been receiving on the continent throughout the, I think, diaspora. It's an education. I've been talking about it a lot too. It's an education that doesn't serve the purpose of African people, to like liberate African people from the system of exploitation. The colonizer won't give us that type of education. That's an education we have to create. And in order for us to like really be inspired and motivated to create that, we have to, first, I think, learn our starting point and understand our present conditions. And then we can begin to like really dictate what we want our future to look like. Did you want to add anything to this as well, Frank? And I think the future that we are envisioning is just highly influenced by the colonizer. Like we don't see a future that is separate from the colonizer and the oppressor. And when you can't do that, that's a serious issue.
In adding to that, I would just say, reading this book, it just remind us that miseducation is just another form of praising. You may not be physically into a praising or physically into an enclosed building, but it's just another form of praising, because you express yourself through another person. You see yourself through another person. You never express yourself as to what you know. It's like you are speaking for somebody. You are carrying the knowledge of somebody. You are protecting somebody instead of you protecting, yourself and so forth. And this is what we have been seeing with some of our folks, even some of our leader out there and things. So miseducation is it's just another form of captivity. It keep you not moving forward, but it keep you moving backward. It keep you just being a good slave, like Adam Smith said in 1800, in order to keep the black man as a slave. But where he will feel that he's not a slave is to make him feel that he's important, is to even invite him on a table as a slave master, invite him on a table and have dinner with him, have breakfast with him, if possible, drink from the same teacup, He may feel that he's free or his master loving and thing, and that will make him more productive. That will make him more to protect you. That will make him more to listen to you. But if not, with the 21st century, with the new, era that we are getting in, if you want to be so submissive, you will lack productivity, and that you will not have slave. But with the new century that we are getting in, you have to go with that mentality of thinking, of making a slave to think that he's free, because hey, you are not riding the same car with him, the same boss. In fact, sometimes he may even be the driver, in the same car. Why? Sometimes, you might even be sitting at the back of the bus seat, not complaining to be at the front. All of these things and make the slave to think that he's free, but indeed he's actually a slave, because the mentality of a free man, he don't have it.
Nah, definitely. And I think, on this channel, we have talked so many times about, I think, this particular illusion of freedom in so many different ways. Uh, but at the end of the day, if you're being economically dominated by a group of people, it doesn't matter what rights you think you have under that system, because it's through economics that we're able to sustain our life. Food, clothing, and shelter. And if there's a dependency on those things, if there's a dependency on other people for those things, those people have power and control over you, and they can determine, whether you live or die. You're in a precarious situation under that type of system. Or under that type of domination. So being able to go vote, you can vote in some changes. That's cool. Is that going to change the economic relationship? It may improve some things for individuals within the system, but you can't vote. You can't vote a revolution, revolutionary change. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't vote in a systemic, change like that. It's not going to happen. The only way that would happen through voting is if the ruling class agrees to it. They would have to unite with it, and then will they unite to revolutionary change? That's going against their interests. But yeah, I know, Natasha, you wanted to share something about.
Oh yeah. Let me pull it up real quick. I Hold on, let me drop
Yeah,
it in.
and appreciate everybody for tapping in. October 15th is on what day? That's
That's
October
a Sunday.
Sunday. That's a Sunday. So yeah, big up to that day. Again, October 15th, that's the founding of the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense that has inspired so many generations, so many people to continue on its revolutionary work around the world. The Black Panther Party itself, its members were inspired by Malcolm X. So it's part of that tradition. Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Robert F. Williams. These are people. France Fanon. These are the people that we uplift. And again, as mentioned earlier with our story, Thomas Sankara, he was taken from us on that day, October 15th. So it should serve as a reminder that you have to, also watch out for these neo-colonialist snakes that's in our midst. If anything, we learned that, but we also have to commemorate, I think, the life of Thomas Sankara as well. There should be a lot going on that day. Indeed, indeed. Oh, I'm gonna throw it up right now.
Yeah, so this is the 7th annual Prisoners Family Brunch. As you see, it'll be on October 15th, the same day that you were just talking about, from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. It'll be in Philly at this address. It'll be free food, drinks, and everything. Speeches, community work together, and collaboration and building together. So it's definitely something that, people should go into if they can. And if you live in New York, I know that there's a bus leaving from New York to Philly and, bringing people back. So if anybody wanted more information on that, you could just reach out to us, and we'll give you get you that information. But I think and also is being done in the memory of Russell Maroon Schultz the first, who was a political prisoner and Black Panther Party member, liberation fighter, who worked and continuously and tirelessly continued to work, whether even out inside the behind the walls for the people, and who passed away like I think what now it's 2 years ago, I want to say. So yeah, so please check it out.
Yeah, appreciate that. I will be in the mix. That's around the corner from me. I can walk there. Now that's what's up. So definitely, if you're in the area and come out, it'll be good to have this bill. Appreciate you all for tuning in, tapping in with us. We should be back here next Saturday. I think next Saturday. I don't think anything's going on. Hopefully we'll be back here next Saturday, but Saturday at 10 a.m. Tap in. We're going to finish this book. We're going to finish this book up. Probably move into chapter 2 of this book. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in, and have a revolutionary day. Peace.
Peace.